if you share just one of our podcasts with everybody at the radio station that has access to your station website. Share this one on website security.
This is Better Radio Websites, the podcast for radio professionals who want to see their website generate more traffic and revenue. Each week, your host, Jim Sherwood, and his special guests give you time-tested tips and secret tricks to ensure your radio station dominates digital in your market. Here we go.
Hi, it's Jim, and welcome to Better Radio Websites, the podcast that wants to help you get more visitors and the most revenue from your radio station website. And in order for you to keep everybody happy that comes to your website really needs to be secure, because when it's not, it could be taken down. You know, it seems like every day or every week, there's a new headline about another app or website being hacked. And these are typically the higher profile websites, but in fact, a hacker attack occurs every 39 seconds in the United States. Yeah, every 39 seconds. That affects 1 in 3 Americans every single year. A successful intrusion can result in a huge loss of traffic because your website is down. You could lose revenue if your website is down or being suspended by your hosting provider for having this attack. So it's a bad situation all the way around. It could even result in identity theft of some of your admins or even members if you have a membership website. So it could be a snowball effect if your website has been hacked. Personal data like passwords, those are one of the first things that could be at risk. And if you have a lot of people with access to your website that has to change all of their passwords, that could be a nightmare. No matter how big or how small your website is, you can become a target. So it's very important to secure your website with whatever means of protection that you can put in place to keep the hackers out, the bugs out, and all those other nefarious entities. So how do cyber attacks work? Let's start there. Well, cyber attacks work by infecting your computer with malware or spyware. And the servers that run websites, they're just really like computers, like the one sitting on your desk right there, but a little bit bigger. And so these types of attacks will often be delivered through email attachments, malicious downloads, or even websites that you may visit. Malware is code designed to disrupt the operation of a device and make it perform hazardous operations. Think of somebody putting a bug on your computer and then sending out a bunch of email as you. Spyware is software designed to gather information about your online activity without you even knowing anything about it. Things like passwords, bank account numbers, that sort of thing. All right. So people could be getting this information. You won't even know it. Cyber attacks usually take the form of viruses, worms, Trojan horses. But the latest trend is ransomware. Now, in ransomware attacks, the hackers demand payment to remove the infection from your server or your computer. Yeah, like they're really going to do that, right? They're just going to take the money and run. It's really impossible to create an absolute impenetrable fortress with your website. It is possible, though, to put measures in place to make it more difficult for hackers to get into. Many times, a little difficulty is really all it takes to send them on their way to their next target. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. There's a lot of technical aspects that we could get into, like picking reliable hosting, ensuring you have an SSL certificate, running regular backups, keeping your content management system up to date. But the normal everyday person who logs into the website is not going to do any of that stuff. And if you have a reputable website service that's hosting your website, more than likely these security measures are already being taken care of behind the scenes for you. This episode, we're talking about the regular day-to-day Joes and Marys who are updating the website on a regular basis, what they can do to keep your website safe and secure. So here are some steps that you should take really every day or every week to prevent cyber attacks against your website. Number one is to have a comprehensive security plan in place. Have an action plan ready if somebody notices that something just isn't right about the website. Who do we contact? Who does, it's on a weekend and somebody is out of town or whatever. The manager can't be the only person that has the name and email addresses and phone numbers to the website developer, the hosting provider, or if you have a security partner, them. So have a security plan in place, posted somewhere in the radio station, and let everybody know via email and whatnot on what to do in case there's an actual attack. Most likely, a recent backup will need to be restored from an earlier point other than the intrusion. So somebody's going to have to think, okay, what did we post today that we're going to need to repost after that backup has been initiated? Because probably the last thing that you posted will not be in that backup. A backup could be a day old, a couple days old, it could be a week old, or maybe even longer. Regardless, be sure that everybody knows who to contact in case of an attack. Number 2 is use strong, secure passwords. We can sometimes forget just how important passwords are and overlook the fact that our password is really the only thing standing between our personal information and a hacker. Think about logging into your bank account. They're not asking for a ton of detailed questions about you every single time. They're asking for a password and maybe a key phrase. So if a hacker knows just 2 things about you, they can get into your bank account. The same can be said for your website or anything else for that matter. Not only are passwords a vital, important step in keeping your information safe, but they're also one of the easiest things that you can change often to increase the security of your information and your station website. In our 10 years of doing radio station websites, we've had only one intrusion, and it was because of a weak password. A survey carried out by the UK's National Cybersecurity Center, they put together a list of the top 10 most hacked passwords. Here are the top 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That was number 2. Number 3 is QWERTY. That's just the top 6 letters on your keyboard. Password was number 4. 6 ones was number 5. Number 6 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, followed by ABC 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, password 1, and then finally rounding out the top 10 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you believe this? If you have any of these passwords, rejoice that you have never been hacked. And then go change your passwords right now. Here are some of the things that you should do instead. Combine 3 random, unrelated, but memorable phrases that mean something to you and to you alone. Not something that you would put on Facebook every day, like Fluffy, my cat, plays with Dynamo, my dog. So the first thing a hacker would say, their password is probably Fluffy Dynamo, or Dynamo Fluffy, or Dynamo Fluffy ! So don't give them something that you post regularly about. Use randomly generated sequence of characters. There's some password managers out there that you can use to keep track of all of these. Don't reuse passwords on multiple websites. Some people, they only have one password and they use it for everything. Have different passwords for different things. Also, make sure that your passwords are long, not something that's easily typed in. Never use personal information in your password. I mentioned that about your cat and your dog. All right, it's the first thing that hackers are going to try. There's all kinds of password tips out there, and be sure to look into one of those password managers to keep track of all of them. That's actually a secure program that resides on your device that helps you keep track of all the passwords. And then in that password manager, you really only have to remember the password to the password manager. And then there's some different 2-factor authentication that you can add to that as well. So it's really the way to go. Regardless, do change your passwords regularly, even if you use a password manager to keep track of all of them. Experts suggest that once every quarter that you change your passwords to everything that you're doing online. If you want to ensure that your information is safe, that is the way to do it. Number 3 is check and clean out spam comments. Now, most likely, everybody that's posting something to the station website have access to the comment section, because if you're posting news or blog posts, well, then you want to interact with people who are interacting with that content, and that's good to do. But some spammers out there will actually disguise themselves as commenters. Be sure that everybody is aware of comments that say, "Great article, keep up more of this great stuff," because that's way too generic. I mean, yeah, it could be somebody, but pay attention to their email address. If it's at 583-213-488-999 at gmail.com, more than likely, that's a robot. Be sure that you mark that as spam, because if you approve a comment like that, most likely your comment system will allow that approved commenter to comment on other posts. And once they are able to do that, that's when the really bad stuff happens. In most cases, comment spam is really just used to place backlinks to their websites to increase their search engine rankings, because backlinks are good in Google's eyes. They don't realize, though, that Google has discovered this and they actually bury URLs that are placed within comment spam. So it does their website no good, but this practice still persists. Those robots still continue to dump their stuff all over everybody's websites. Now, some spam bots have more malicious intentions. They can actually overload your server by commenting on everything you have, and they're looking for a way to get in behind your firewall and whatnot. And some install malware on your visitor's computer. Now, if these malicious links are picked up by Google's crawl bots, they could render your website unsafe. So everybody that goes to your website gets this alert saying this website is unsafe. And it's very, very hard to get off of that blacklist. Now, a lot of times your content management system may go ahead and block all of these. And that is great if you have a system that can do that. But some will still squeak under the radar and infect your website. You want to be sure that you are keeping your comments clean from spam. And number 4, and lastly on our list for today, is scan your local computer. That's right. Your local machine that you work on, either at the radio station or at home, may be a serious security threat to your station website. Some malware is written to steal login information and then inject malicious files into websites that they have access to. So using the best antivirus software on your machine can help bypass that whole debacle. It's staggering that 93% of malware is delivered via email. Links that somebody has clicked on in an email. This means that you should always be on the lookout for anything unusual in your inbox. Protect your website by being on guard and suspicious of all text, emails, phone calls asking for personal information. Also beware of public or open internet connections. If you're working in a shared space like a cafe or a coffee shop, those locations may not be secure. That means when you log in to your station website to do, a blog post or a piece of news or something like that, then your login could be hijacked. It has happened. Never click on links in emails that seem suspect. Delete the email right away. Do not even click on it just because you're curious. Now, a lot of this is common sense type stuff. You're probably thinking, no, I would never do that. But folks are still getting infected just by being curious. And phishing emails, the kind of emails that look like they're legit, but they're really not, they're becoming increasingly realistic. So always remain on high alert. The key to eradicating a virus or malware is to not treat the symptoms or remove the malware. The most critical solution is understanding how you got the malware or virus and then eliminating the possibility of reinfection later. It's very important to run deep scans of your personal machines on a regular basis, especially if you commonly download files online, even photos from some stock websites. They can even be infected. Yeah, that's happened as well. Even executable files that seem trustworthy can come from unintended partners, so a strong antivirus software can really keep your mind at ease. So wrapping up, good website security really starts with you. As a website admin, it's your responsibility to ensure that you have a safe and secure website for your listeners and your website visitors. Have a security plan. Use strong passwords. Clear out your spam comments on a regular basis. Scan your local computer regularly. Only grant access to admins that you can trust. Only trust verified professionals to access your website at any time. For example, remember how I told you how these phishing emails are becoming more and more realistic? You could get an email from your hosting provider saying that they need access to your computer in order to upgrade your antivirus software. Would you give them access to that? I wouldn't, because they are more than likely trying to scam you. Somebody that you have verified will actually call you on the phone. Or if you do get an email like that, say, hey, give me your number, let me call you. More than likely, they'll just move on. You wouldn't leave the front door open to your house now, so don't do the same to your website. Web-based malware and spyware attacks, they're on the rise. So do all that you can to ensure that you and your team are security-minded and that your website is protected and not an easy target. Need help with your radio station website? Reach out to us at skyrocketradio.com. Have an awesome week online, making your radio website better. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Better Radio Websites. Inspired by today's episode? Be sure you are subscribed and share this episode with a friend. Visit skyrocketradio.com/podcasts for more episodes as well as show notes for this episode. Need help starting or making your station website better? Visit skyrocketradio.com.